Good morning, everyone. So we go from the most aggressive and less frequent type of breast cancer to the most frequent and least aggressive in general type of breast cancer. So we presented the overall survival analysis of the PALOMA-3 study. The PALOMA-3 study is a study that was designed back in 2010 with a new drug tested, palbociclib, one of the first-in-class CDK4/6 inhibitors. And the intention at that time, considering the exciting data coming from an early phase 2, was to find out if this drug in combination with fulvestrant was going to improve the progression-free survival in patients that progress on endocrine therapy. This is the most common situation. So we have 65% of patients with hormone receptor-positive breast cancer. So the majority of metastatic breast cancer patients are ER positive. All these patients progress on endocrine therapy. And we show at the first interim analysis, there was actually the data in December 2014 and published for the first time in July of 2015, that there was an improvement in progression-free survival statistical significance from 4.6 to 9.5 months. This follow-up continued. We had a number of correlative studies and other endpoints. The drug is very well tolerated. The quality of life is improved. The patient have a prolongation of time for chemotherapy. So today is the first time with a median follow-up of 44.8 months, we were able to look at overall survival. Keeping in mind, it's been extremely difficult for this group of patients to show an overall survival advantage. So these are my disclosure. So this is the overall survival in the intent to treat analysis. Compare the two groups, the palbociclib plus fulvestrant, median overall survival 35.9 months, compared to a median of 28 months. What is important with regard to this data is I told you this patient had many treatment options, received a median of 3 lines of therapy in the placebo group, up to 10 lines of therapy after they progress. That the absolute improvement that we have seen in the progression-free survival is actually maintained in the group overall treated in the overall survival analysis, 6.9 months. Important also to consider that the study was designed to stratify patients based on visual metastasis, sensitivity to prior endocrine therapy, so patients had progressed later during their adjuvant therapy or they already got some benefit from first-line endocrine therapy. Every patient was already exposed to at least 2 lines of therapy or more. So when we look at the stratification factors, patients have been exposed and they have been already showing endocrine sensitivity versus endocrine insensitive. Keeping in mind the vast majority, more than 400 patients, the 521 patients, had in fact endocrine sensitivity. We see that the magnitude of benefit is even larger. There is an improvement of 10 months in overall survival in the palbociclib arm versus placebo arm. And this is quite significant, even though there was a secondary endpoint. 39.7 months versus 29.7 months. We also show in the data that there is a fraction of patients, 15%, even though the study did not allow a crossover, eventually down the road later, for physician choice, receive a CDK4/6 inhibitor. That could have impacted even more the difference in overall survival, so somewhat decreasing this difference. So there is a statistical adjustment that can be done and show that the magnitude is even larger, and much larger than we see here with the sensitivity to prior endocrine therapy. The other group is a very small group. So we want to just to make a point that the progression-free survival at the last follow-up, this is data on October 2017, 6.6 months is still maintained, and the same magnitude of benefit is shown in the overall survival, 35.9 months and 28 months. So our conclusion is that in patients with hormone receptor-positive, HER2-negative advanced breast cancer, the combination of palbociclib and fulvestrant show a clinically meaningful improvement in overall survival. And this is explained much more in details in the paper and the presentation today. There is an absolute difference of 6.6 months that's similar to 6.9, similar to the progression-free survival difference of 6.6 months. There is a significant 10 months improvement in overall survival in patients who have prior sensitivity to endocrine therapy. Important, this drug did not interfere with the efficacy of other standard treatment after progression. Patient went to receive chemotherapy and other different line of therapy. The safety profile did not change even with the longer follow-up. And we concluded this findings confirmed that the use of palbociclib plus fulvestrant is a standard of care now in patients previously treated hormone receptor positive HER2 negative advanced breast cancer.